I wanted to turn back the clock a little bit from where we've been with Michael Jackson lately. 1979, he would have been about 21 from the Off the Wall album, Workin' Day and Night. I like taking in Michael Jackson's catalog in sort of a ping-pong approach. There's this unbelievable proficiency that he demonstrates as the younger version of himself. And then you get to hear him play and explore in really crazy off-the-wall ways, no pun intended, in the later stuff. For example, his command on rhythmic aspects of his voice is present really from the very beginning. And you get to hear things like that in this track that, having knowledge of where things went in the coming albums and coming performances, you go, oh yeah, it really makes sense that he would have ended up there, but I didn't expect it to be quite that cool. And I'll point more of them out as we get into this. As we're working through these tracks, even though you're never going to be Michael Jackson, ask yourself, what can you pull from this? What sort of creative inspiration can you take for your own craft as a vocalist, or if you're not a vocalist, as a musician? And if you want more help diving deeper into your own voice, be sure to click the link below and join my free voice course. And I'll help you do just that. I really enjoy taking in the multi-tracks of these Quincy Jones, Bruce Swedien tracks. I love the acoustic nature of them. I like hearing the real horns and the real drum sets. Let's build some things here. Fantastically recorded, groovy drum set. This track. Listen. So cool. The little vocalizations in there. So neat. Ooh. Yes. Real pocket, real groove, no quantization, imperfections. And the synth bass into Louis Johnson's slaps. It's so cool how the synth bass and the acoustic bass end up being this single performance, how they play off of each other. Really, really neat. Let's bring some guitars in there and listen again just to this section. Oh, love it. Keys, piano. Just the piano. And then the addition of those layers. It's pretty much the same part. At least right here. But of course, you've got those little peaking things, those improvisational things with the piano, and then the keys really glue in the sound of that piano in the eventual mix. This, though, is the highlight of the isolated instrumental exploration for me. Real horns can only get so tight, and so there's this swinging and pushing and pulling that happens, that particularly in this funky genre, that there's just nothing else like it. I mean, listen to how it pulls some of these other tracks. And it really only becomes truly anchored when all the parts are in. But, we put the bass and drums in there. And it makes sense. Okay, and now let's dive into these vocals. And I've got all the multitracks here, each individual part. Listen here to this first part. We have lead 1, we have lead 2. Lead 1's the primary track, and then lead 2 is where you'll hear the double. I have them brought up to work together more than you'll hear in the full mix. Listen to this beginning. Ow! Oh. You see what I mean? It's more raw. It's in its infancy. You can hear all these other things, from Jam and Too Bad, all the things that he does later. It's just breath here, right? It's just a simple rhythmic breath. So effective and so cool and so awesome that we get to hear it right here. Cool headphone bleed. You can even hear You can even hear him moving just a little bit in the midst of that headphone bleed. Okay, here we go. We're going to play the just the lead, no double for a minute to get the sense of the quality and clarity of his voice, which is a lot different at age 21 than later.
Ooh, my honey, you got me working day and night. Ooh, my sugar, you got me working day and night.
You hear that little clearing of the throat? It's in one of these other multitracks because I have this one muted, but that's awesome that that's in there.
Ooh, my sugar, you got me working day and night. Scratch my shoulder, it's aching, make it feel all right. When this is over.
The inclusion of the neat rhythmic incidentals that happen. Also, this is really evident especially in younger Michael Jackson, the sharing of resonance. He transitions so seamlessly between his head resonance and his chest resonance, and it's really pleasant.
Scratch my shoulder, it's aching, make it feel all right.
Or you hear scratch, he's in his head voice.
Scratch my shoulder.
But it's this subtle shift into his chest voice. Really, really cool. Listen here on this line again, with that in mind.
Ooh, my sugar, you got me working day and night.
There's this,
ooh, my sugar.
He's in head voice the whole time on that line, and then
scratch my shoulder.
He's just in head voice for scratch there. Earlier in his career, he was much more subtle with this, where he would go in and out of his head and chest resonance in cool ways. And I've done lots of demonstrations of how to do this well with your voice in other videos, but we'll save that for other videos. Let's keep appreciating here.
When this is over, loving you will be so right. I often wonder if loving you will be tonight.
He springs for full chest here.
When this is over,
beautiful tone.
Loving you will be so right. I often wonder.
And then on often, he goes for head voice again. This isn't because he can't hit the note. Clearly, he hit the note here. This is artistic, dynamic choice making. And he's doing it in the moment in such a wonderful, spontaneous way. That's why his voice is so fun to listen to. So much spontaneity, so much decision making.
If loving you will be tonight. But what is love, girl? If I'm always out of sight.
Listen to this run.
But what is love, girl? If I'm always out of sight.
It's really accurate. Listen to it with a double.
But what is love, girl? If I'm always out of sight. Ooh!
Wow! You know he's dancing with his voice and free when he can enter a run like that and have it be as close as that on the double as it is on the main track. Let's listen to some of these gang vocals and background vocals here.
You got me working day and night, and I'll be working from sun to midnight. You got me working, working day and night. You got me working, working day and night. You got me working, working day and night. You got me working, working day and night.
Oh, and the sigh that just fits perfectly in with the playful, lamenting lyrics, right? A couple things. I want to play this section again, but notice there are pitch problems all over the place if you're listening for that, but they're not problems. They create this wideness and this completeness to these gang vocals. You wouldn't hear gang vocals like this in today's music. You'd hear them time corrected and pitch corrected to the point to where they almost sound like they were created with a machine instead of sung. And I love the freedom here. Also notice that even in the background vocals, his breathing is coordinated and a part of the rhythmic soundscape. A lot of times when we're recording, particularly background vocals, we tend to avoid breaths. We don't avoid breathing, but we tend to avoid letting those breaths be a part of the performance because, we don't want them to get in the way. He's going the opposite direction. He's saying these breaths, the inhales, how I take in air is just as important and just as artistic of an expression as the way I exhale. It's part of the whole thing. So neat. Listen again.
You got me working day and night.
Long breath.
And I'll be working from sun to midnight. You got me working, working day and night. You got me working, working day and night. You got me working, working day and night.
You got me working, working day and night. You got me working, the breath is part of the rhythm. This is so overlooked. Your breathing is not simply to get air for the next notes. Your breathing is art.
You got me working, working day and night.
And an inhale phonation. Oh, wow. Okay, listening on to the lead vocals with the double in this time for extra fun and texture.
You say that working is what a man's supposed to do. And I say it ain't right if I can't give sweet love to you. Yeah, I'm tired of thinking of what my life's supposed to be. Well, soon.
Hearing all those adlibs, he is his own drummer or his own metronome, his own timekeeper. Well, sure, he's singing to a track, but he is fully immersed. Even in these earlier tracks, I know I keep saying that like I'm surprised. I'm not really surprised. I just like that we can see his incredible evolution as well as his proficiency from the very beginning and this instinctual musicianship that really comes from a place of freedom, not from a place of trying to do something. Like he's creating something very new and fresh here in the moment. And it's about being fully given over to the sensations he's experiencing with his voice and to the music that he's being a part of.
Soon enough, darling, this love will be reality. How can you live, girl? 'Cause the love for us was meant to be.
That natural tape saturation on those higher notes, love that.
Well, then you must be seeing some other guy instead of me. Ooh, that's why you got me working day and night, and I'll be working from sun to midnight. You got me working.
Okay, so now this is cool. Listen to the lead track here on that line.
From sun to midnight.
Wow. Wonderful connected mixed voice there. Now listen here to these call-outs.
From sun to midnight.
That's head voice. We'll build the layers in here.
From sun to midnight.
Yeah, cool. Now listen to them together.
From sun to midnight.
There was absolutely no need to layer all of those in that full connected voice. It actually is better from a layering perspective and from a depth perspective to have him go for it on the lead and really pull back in intensity and be chill on those background vocal notes.
Gotta working day and night. Hold on. You got me working day and night. I'm so tired, tired now. You got me working, working day and night. Hold on. You got me working, working day and night.
I like how these ad-libs are all doubled like verbatim, at least till this very end. I love that. Call and answer with just little vocal percussions things. Cool, cool, cool. Interesting, you can hear the mic proximity right here, like the low end sound there. The capsule being overloaded with too much air. Between the overloading of the vocal signal chain, don't really obsess too much about, am I recording this properly? Proper recording isn't near as cool as inspired recording.
You see that working is what a man's supposed to do. And I say it ain't right if I can't give sweet love to you. Well, how can you live, girl? 'Cause love for us was meant to be. Well,
Listen to the difference in quality between the double and the lead here.
how can you live, girl?
And
How can you live, girl?
what I hear is that he's actually closer to the mic on this one. Not that this is some huge revelation. It's just interesting to hear the different timbres and qualities of his voice that are brought out as he uses the mic differently. Listen again.
How can you live, girl?
Versus.
How can you live, girl? How can
Believe it or not, by leaning into a mic, sometimes you actually increase the low end response of it, and it makes it sound a bit more disconnected. When you give the mic a little bit of space, you pull in a little bit more brilliance, especially with, likely this was an SM7B or a variant, especially with those kind of mics. The proximity isn't something to obsess over, but more to be mindful of, like, oh, what kind of sound do I want here? And as you learn to work your mic, as you're freely performing, you can pull different textures out of your voice simply by where you're at with your mic.
Well, then you must be seeing some other guy instead of me. Woo! That's why you got me working. I don't want to stand it.
Love it.
From sun up to midnight.
Again, I mean, what a powerful, awesome, connected, mixed voice here. Ooh.
From sun up to midnight.
And then, here,
From sun up to midnight.
there's head voice.
From sun up to midnight.
Right? They start with him in mixed voice, and then this part ends up going into his chest voice, but you'd never know.
Midnight. Gonna working day and night. Hold on. You got me working, working day and night. I'm so tired, tired now. You got me working, working day and night. You got me working, working day and night.
Love those screams.
Taking over, girl. Taking over. You got me working, working day and night, girl. You got me working, working day and night. I'm so tired, tired now. You got me working, working day and night. You got me working, working day and night. How can I get to you?
It's remarkable how variety-oriented his ad-libs are. He was a very calculated artist. You know he practiced and conceptualized all, or at least a lot of this stuff before he actually went in to do it off the cuff. There's nothing really off the cuff about this. He has created that sense of spontaneity because he is so well rehearsed and so comfortable in his own voice and his own creativity. But there's a lot of hard work that went into every note on this song and on all Michael Jackson songs.
Yeah, by doing what you do, working day and night. Is it that you see? Working day and night. Some other guy than me. Yeah. Oh, no. You got me working day and night. Dun. You got me working day and night.
Courtesy stop.
Yeah. You got me working day and night. Taking over. You got me working day and night. Doing a dad. You got me working day and night. How can I get to you? You got me working day and night. What you done to do? You got me working day and night. Don't.
And he becomes a guitar at the very end with his voice. So cool. Thank you so much for going through this stuff with me and for continuing to request new Michael Jackson material. Be sure to check out my In the Style of Michael Jackson Deep Dives playlist. I have it linked right here. And again, if you'd like more help with your own voice and unlocking creativity in what your voice can do, click that link below and join my free course. We'll see you for more.